This is probably going to be my most transparent video ever made. And I don't know if we're going to do any edits on this video. And if I do, it's probably going to be like dead space and stuff like that. But this is like a more serious topic that's more like personal to me. And I feel like I don't really know how many views this will get. And I don't really care that much. So like, usually I would like, I guess change the title and thumbnails, whatever, for the algorithm. But probably just going to leave it as it is. But you already see what I'm talking about in this video, and I want to discuss something that I've been dealing with for a few months now, and that is pet loss. I had a pet named Rocky, a pet cat. He was on the older side. He was 14 and a half, and he passed away in October, like a couple weeks after my birthday. And you know, for the past 4 months, I've been dealing with this. I've been trying to process this and like understand my grief because it's not. It's very hard for me considering he was with me for over half my life, and he has spent a very good portion of it. For me, whether it's me as a kid, a teenager, and now a young adult, and it's very weird not to have that routine, not to have him by my side, not to just have him with me in general. It's just very it is very weird. And you know what? When we sign up to have pets, we know they don't have longer lifespan long us have the lifespans as humans have. And we know that even if they're having the worst of it, we still don't want to let them go because how much they mean to us. Like pets, I can't explain how much a love of a pet is like for someone that never had a pet because only fellow pet owners can understand how how important pets are to us. Pets are really like they're not just animals. They're companions. They're beings that like even though they don't speak, they show love in ways that humans can't. And because of that, I have more of a big relationship with my cat Rocky than some if not most humans on Earth. And it's very weird for me. Like I said, I'm trying my hardest not to like be too emotional in this video because you know I'm better with my grief now because when he first passed, I was I be honest, I lost it. I was very sad that day. I was not I did not feel good at all, as you would think, obviously, but I were because like you know my cat had like health issues at the end of his life, and I tried my hardest, and my family did to try to save him. And while we tried our best with how much money we were able to spend on him, on treatment and stuff, I think due to the fact that he was older, he probably wouldn't have survived anyway. And even if he had surgery or stuff like that, but it's just how things go sometimes. Unfortunately, I think like I always thought to myself, you know, actually not. I always, always, I still kind of blame myself, but like when I first, like for like the first month or so, maybe I really started to blame. myself for not pushing harder, not always constantly putting, was having constant what if scenarios in my head about what could I have done to save him, what could I have done to like at least prolong his life, even if it was like for like a year or so, because part of me still thinks that he could have been here for longer, but at the same time, the more I think about it, the more I realized that he probably wouldn't have like I said survived, or he probably would have been miserable. So he lived a long life, or like especially I mean he lived about the average lifespan of a cat. Of course, like cats live longer sometimes, and obviously I wish he would have lived longer, but like I say, he spent a very good portion of my life, and he was he was and still is going to be loved. My the grief, like I said, like it's not as bad. Like I still have. There are times where I do think about him, especially now, but like I will always think about him, probably till I leave this planet. But I feel like over time I'll probably just learn to live with it. With like same with like all my relatives that have passed away. You just learn how to live with it later on. It doesn't hit as hard as when it first happened, of course. And people, like I said, humans. I mean, non-pet owners want to understand how an animal would like make someone so emotional, but it's just, in my opinion, it's just as important, or should I say, like as emotional as a regular human death. It's just because, like I said, you spend so much time with them. I mean, every day with them, really. So probably you get to know them probably more than some of your family and friends. And like I said, they show you love, unconditional love, without saying any English or say any human language. So I don't know how. Wait, hold on. Actually, let me do something. It is point of my ring light, so that's where it is. And I honestly forgot already what I was saying, but whatever. Um. So yeah, it's just humans. Like I said, humans just won't certain humans won't understand how an animal could like be so important to somebody's life. Like it isn't just a pet to us; it's a companion. And you know, like I said, it's pretty much like like losing a friend, really. And when you lose a friend, you lose part of what a routine of what motivates you. Like I can't even like the smallest things. It's even the things that annoy me are the things I miss now. Whether it's his meows, whether it's cleaning his litter box, whether it's buying and feeding him food, whether it's opening the door, whether it's playing with him, giving him catnip, whether it's just hiding stuff from him, like stuff like that. You take for granted once they're gone. And the same thing could be said for humans, but That's why I always that's why people always say to like be grateful for what you have now and don't take anything for granted while people are still here. Because once they're gone, not only that they're gone and never coming back, but you're gonna regret certain things for the rest of your life and wish you could have things different. Like if I wish I would have done certain I would have been there more for people in my life that passed, and I have to live with that. But it's one of those things you have to live and learn with. And what made my cat's death so sad for me is that like he died in like the worst so suddenly, even though he was kind of ill, but like he still soldiered through and still showed us love even through that. And we didn't expect him to pass that day. He did. So and he, like I said, he died very in a matter of hours in a place he never really liked the vets. He but I do think he went out on his own terms a little bit because he didn't want he probably really didn't want to get euthanized. He didn't want to leave us just yet. He just wanted to be with us until he couldn't no more. And pets are don't take anything really like I said anything for granted at all. Humans are humans humans are a species that like we are very advanced in like how we speak and how we develop things over time. But animals play a big part in that as well because without certain animals, we wouldn't be here too. And obviously, plants too. Like we wouldn't be breathing air if it was for plants exhaling oxygen, and we do and they wouldn't live if we didn't exhale carbon dioxide. Um, but that's I'm getting scientific here. That's not what I came here for. But yeah, pets. I mean, but yeah, losing a pet is obviously not easy. Losing anything that's living isn't easy ever. But like I said, it will get better, and I am getting better. But um, there, I do think. I'm not really much of a religious person, but I do think there is some signs Rocky gives in the afterlife, and I do feel him and see him sometimes when I'm like in certain areas of the house, or even like when I'm outside. Like when I see a rainbow, I think of like the Rainbow Bridge, obviously, and how much you love playing in the sun or being in the sun, whatever. Like he would be on my door, just looking at me or like coming in. Like I said, I feel his presence whenever maybe I go to sleep or whenever I go to a certain area. I have his obviously me and my family have his ashes in a memorial place that I actually set up myself, and it's a very I would say it's like a very good space for us to look back and reminisce on the life he had. He like I say, he lived a very good life. he was, I guess, on the bigger side, I guess, but he you wouldn't think he was big if outside of his body, obviously, but like you wouldn't think he's big based on the way he moves. And even in his last year or so of his life, he still moved and still loved to eat, be with us, and sleep. Obviously, like I know one day I'll probably see him again once I leave this planet, but until then, I have to probably gonna have to live decades without him by my side, and I know I will have more pets later on in my life. Maybe in my 20s right now, maybe my 30s, 40s, when I have a family and stuff. And I probably want to experience the same thing over and over again because of how, like I said, how pets have short lifespans. I mean, depending on what pet you get anyway, but like I don't think it would ever get easier, even with the pets I will have, just because like pets are unique. Like no one will ever replace Loki, and I said that when he passed. Like no, it doesn't matter how many cats I would get, dogs, whatever. No one will ever replace or like have a similar um personality to Rocky. Rocky was one of a kind. But pets help the grieving process, and I know that, like I said, one day I will have another pet. But like right now, I'm really just focusing on me and everything else I got going on in my life. Like I just be focused on self improvement, whether it's just this getting my that's reading, getting my priorities right. That's also why I can't really do content as much as I used to. Even though I do want to, but like at the same time, just want to like not just really just be in the moment, live life because I'm not. Grief changes you. Like you never really the same person you once was once someone important to you pass away. Like I'm not the same person as I once was when Rocky passed, and that was just 4 months ago. So, and part of me thinks that it's probably intentional in the sense. I think the universe decided to say that like Rocky was a chapter in your life that had to that represent a part of your life where that needs to evolve eventually. And I think that Rocky will just Rocky is happy wherever he is. Pet um hold on, let me think about this. Like I don't know what exactly grief does, but I'm just not really the same person. Whether it's for bad or for or for good. I was Me personally, I think like I kind of have to just learn how to since I'm learning how to live with it and learning more about myself. I'll say it's more beneficial right now, but like especially when it first happened, it was just not the greatest. Um, like I said, the day it happened, I was very sad and emotional, and even when and I didn't want to believe he was dying until like I heard the vet say he passed. that's when it all came crashing down. Like part of me had even a little bit of hope, even when I knew what the outcome was going to be. But when it did happen, my what I thought was going to happen and what I didn't want to happen at all did end up happening. Like the day I never want to happen, but I know what's going to happen since we all know our fate in with our lives. This happened. Um, I have been reading lately, and I've been reading this book. It's called "Only Gone from Your Sight." I haven't finished it yet. I've been trying to finish it, but I guess like things get in the way, and sometimes I just be forgetting, or sometimes I just like don't have time for it. But I'm like halfway through this book, and like even though it's not like a help guide or some shit like that. It's just like it for me it helps me a little bit in terms of like understanding what what um what Rocky means to me, and like after in the afterlife after death. And just because he's gone physically doesn't mean we don't love him spiritually, or just like don't reminisce on his memories. I mean that's obvious, but like when sometimes when you lose something, you only it's hard to not to reflect on negative, even though I spent 14 years of my life with him. So we will only think about that time he passed, or when he was in a bad state, as opposed to all the other times in his life where he was healthy. We had good times with him, and this had a lot of things to show for it. Life is strange. It comes with many obstacles, and you just have to learn how to live with certain things and go with the flow as you go along. I'm 24, so I got a lot of learning to do, and maybe some returning to do also, and I'm aware of that. But it's not something that I'm not already not knowing of, or that I'm not used to. It's just kind of like I said, it's just hard to. It's one of those things where you can't, where until it happens to you, we won't understand. Like I won't understand how people feel when their parents pass away, or when a certain sibling or friend pass away, until that happens to me. Like you can only guess it, but I can't I can't imagine how that feels until it happens to me, unfortunately, which it will happen, I, unfortunately. So, and that's the same thing with Rocky. I didn't like I only guessed, and like I can only imagine how I felt when Rocky passed away, and I never knew how it would be until it actually did happen. And when it did, due to the fact that it came so suddenly, I couldn't really process it, because it wasn't like something where we euthanized him, or set an appointment, whatever, or just he died peacefully. It just one day he just like one day he just was gone. And I always like remember the day before he passed. I remember what he did. He was eating. He was he was with us, just relax by our sides. He was just his usual self. Even though I kind of knew something was up deep down, part of me just thought it was like a regular day where one step at a time. If we give him better treatment, maybe this thing he has would have eventually leave him, and he will live longer. But that ended up never happening. Like I said, I always part of me when it first happened blamed myself, and like I was kind of upset at like my parents for not pushing harder on them. But as I get got processing more, I was and realized how old he was and how things were for the past year. He wouldn't, like I say, probably wouldn't survive or probably would have died sooner. So, so, so I'm one of those people that think that things happen for a reason. Because there's always a butterfly effect with everything, and I think if certain things did happen, then effects, certain things would be different. Like if certain things were like that's why if certain things wouldn't have happened, then hell I would not be here right now talking to y'all right now. But it's just yeah, like I said, just weird. And I already see how long this video is gonna be, and I hope I don't bore you that much. But if you watch this far, I appreciate y'all. But yeah, it's really I think that's really all I have to say about this really. Just because yeah, I think I everything I wanted to say out there. Like I wanted to make this video now as like a diary because if that was the case I would just wrote it myself. But I wanted to make this video for people out there that are suffering from this, from head loss, because just know you're not alone. And we know that, but sometimes you get stuck in our old head and like not think about other people dealing with similar things. And I've joined groups, pet loss groups on social media, and that see similar stories on my socials too. So it kind of while it doesn't really help it just helped me I guess ease the pain and sympathize with other people dealing with the dealing with a similar situation. And seeing that unfortunately pets are dying younger than how my cat was, and maybe or even older. It does kind of go to perspective of how not only how short their lives are, but also how unique a life is in general. Because there's there's kids, teenagers, young adults that die very young. Not everybody lives to unfortunately be an old age. That's why it's considered a blessing to be old. That's why I also don't like off topic, but I don't like when like people are in my generation like try to like age shame. Because if like I would wish I would wish and hope I would live to be in my 70s and 80s and even 90s. And I'm just thinking, and life goes by fast. Like I'm 24 now, and I wasn't that long ago when I was a teenager, or it was in college too. So I'm living my life right now, and like I said, I have to learn to live with the grief, and I have to learn how to just be happy while just dedicating him to my dedicating him in my memory. You know, that's why I also named the title, give the title that I did, because I want to like I said, give other people of similar situation an outlet to like give their experience or like know that they're not here, they're not alone, like I said. And because there's not a lot of videos on YouTube about this, maybe on IG and on TikTok, but on YouTube it's not really like a big topic point because YouTube is more algorithm driven, and like I said, I don't really care about how many views this video gets because it's more personal video that I wouldn't normally upload like at all. And part of me was like, should I make this video or not? But like, I think this video, like I said, will help certain people and like helping with their grief. And I think this video is helping me with my grief too. But yeah, that's really about it. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out.